Hi everybody and welcome to this general playthrough for Pro and Expert Division for the Rewind 2023 tournament here on the BK Golf Clash YouTube channel. At this point in time, my only request is you to hit the thumbs up on the video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel as well, totally free to do so. General wind directions here, showing you some possible routes on these holes, mixture of Shifeng Basin, Sierra Plateau and East Lake. Timestamps in the video description down below. Good luck everybody, here we go. On this par 4 we need to try and get to green off the tee. In the example here I'm going with 4 top spin and 3 bars side spin to the left, stretching out here with a power 2 ball just to find my position where the second bounce is deliberately in the rough just before the halfway point on that fairway island, because the tailwind is going to push me further with that second bounce. Obviously in headwind I would recommend you go with a power 3 plus ball and play with more topspin if you can. In this wind angle I go max plus 30 and then I push up the amount of rings that I was using to stretch out to find my position. In my case it was about 1.5 rings. Then I'm going to take my shot. You will always need 3 bars of left spin or maybe 2, in which case if you've only got 2 available you need to play with more left curl. But we want to swing this ball around to the left so the second bounce is on this little patch of fairway, hops over the rough and rolls nicely onto the green or onto the fringe area for a very simple eagle, wedge or putt. On this first par 3 I'm going to use the white ring touching the rough, the bottom of the white ring touching the rough and the right hand edge of it touching the bunker there, because that's a consistent point we can refer to every time we play this hole. Then it's a case of adapting spins depending on wind angle. Here I'm going with 1.5 backspin and 2 bars right spin. We're always going to be using our long iron on this hole from the second tee, regardless of wind direction or wind strength. So if we can find a consistent good bounce point here, then we've got good clear ring references to use. So we're always going to set up at the same point. Very good for dialing in. Medium distance, 30% elevation, mid plus 30. You can see there it's slightly downhill and we're going over water there, which is kind of set further downhill, so we are going to have the wind affecting the ball quite a bit. Bouncing where we're aiming, so the adjustment's good. Small tweak to the spin, very close look at it. Decent chance, might need a token or two though on this par 3 to dial in. On this par 5 you've got 2 options here. I'm going to show you one playing a bit more aggressively to the middle patches of fairway with the Apocalypse. We're going with 4.5 top spin and 3 left spin. Otherwise you can play down the fairway on the right that I'm showing you there, and that will give you a clear approach, either bouncing over the bunker with the Goliath most likely, or you play safely to the green from the far right side with a wood club. In heavy tailwind you could actually play this shot with the rock as well, pushing up and going with the curl, and you don't have to have a massively high level of APOC here. You could make this shot actually with APOC 4 as I'm doing here, maybe even APOC 3 as well in certain wind angles. Max plus 10, plenty of left curl there, and we're rolling down the fairway. Careful not to get a glitch roll here, and we're getting to a drive distance of around 370 yards. In headwind we'd play the next shot with the Grizzly at min distance, but in tailwind we can actually bounce in between the bunker and the rough and go for an albatross this way, which I think is, even though it has a bit more elevation to deal with, you're covering less distance, and it will be, I think, a better drop rate than playing out down the long fairway on the right hand side. But again, the choice is yours and it depends what wind angle you've got. As an estimate here I generally play this one max plus 25, maybe a little bit more in crosswind. If you've got wind from left to right you will of course adjust down into the bunker, so you need to keep that in mind as well when you're dialing in your shots. We just missed this one unfortunately, but it gives you an idea of the routes that you might want to take on this par 5. I reckon there's a decent chance, out of all the par 5s on this course, this is going to be the best chance for an albatross in my opinion. On this par 3 the rough bump is the way forward. Sniper 9 plus is needed here. Sniper 8 is possible, but you need to set up quite close to the edge of the rough. Because there's a slight headwind angle here, I'm having the ball guide comfortably through the hole, about 2 green squares. We don't need anything more than a navigator in Pro, because we don't need a massive amount of side spin. 1 bar is fine. It's going to be about 4 top spin and you can see one left spin. In expert, of course, a kingmaker is always good to cut the wind angle down, the wind strength down. Mid +0, power 1 settings in my case. Obviously, you might need different adjustments in different wind angles, but this shows you the type of shot that you want to play, really, for the hole-in-one. The rough bump, cutting out the second bounce, wind effect, is going to be your best opportunity at the drop. Aggressive option on this par 4, if you've got tailwind. It is worthy of a blast, but it is not without risk. 4.5 top spin, 2 left spin with this wind strength and wind angle, stretching out and aiming down the fairway. The issue here, though, you've got water that cuts in from the left into the fairway, and also if you're not on the left half of the fairway here, then you will roll into the rough most likely, because it slopes down quite dramatically to the right. Max +10, no push-up, going with full overpower with a slow needle, half a ball of curl to the left. You'll see here we do get to wedge range. We could have added a bit more topspin, but we're very, very close to the edge of the water, just skimming by the wooden edging there, but it leaves a wedge if you fancy a risky, aggressive drive. If you haven't got the wind angle or the desire to play aggressively, you can play a layup on the right, but you've still got that curve to contend with on the fairway, so the left side is also a viable alternative. Going with 6 top spin and 2 left spin, but the thing to watch here is in any headwind you need to make sure you're going to clear the rough and the sand, because the wind will check the ball up. Max +10, even though I don't go into overpower with my adjust, I'm adding 2 rings on because my previous attempt was short. So 2 rings of OP, try and hit perfect. Of course, an APOC 5 and above will need less overpower because you've got more distance, clearing the rough nicely and getting down the fairway. And the second shot here, as you can see, is going to play a little bit more downhill than the right side, so it's up to you which route you want to take. The problem here is the bunker is in the way where we want to bounce, so either you drive way further to the left and try a clearer shot there away from the sand, or you go, as I do here, with max backspin and play a kind of draw shot with the thorn. The issue here, even though this shot is downhill anyway, playing max backspin gives you a really high second bounce, so you're going to need loads of elevation. In the video here, I'm playing this one true club distance with 60% elevation. Obviously a standard backspin shot isn't going to need that much if you're just playing with 3 or 4 bars of backspin, but it still will need a fair amount. I would say probably 30%, maybe even more in certain wind angles, but the max one just getting a lip out here. Tough par 4 depending on the wind angle. On this par 5, I would suggest you play down the right hand side of the water, 4.5 top spin and 3 bars side spin to the left, stretching out a little bit here with the extra mile level 8. Obviously if you've got APOC 5 plus, you won't need to go with as much overpower, but I want to push this drive. The alternate thing is, of course, to play with 6 bars at top spin. If you have it, that would reduce the amount of overpower that you need. This will set up a very nice long iron approach for the Albatross. Max +10 is the adjustment. That's the same that I would make in all wind angles here playing this route. Of course, there are more aggressive routes down the left hand side if you want to go full blast. Try and get yourself a lot nearer to the pin. If you've got a good tailwind, especially up in expert. Here you can see I'm going with the amount of overpower needed depending on what I couldn't push up, because I was stretching out a few rings. Plenty of curl to the left as well. We could maybe go with a bit more curl, but we're still on the fairway. Around 375 yards is going to be absolutely fine. For the second shot, I'd play with the Grizzly for ball guide and accuracy. You're going to need around 3.5 to 4 backspin depending on the wind angle that you've got. Here I'm using right spin to offset deliberately to the right of the pin because the wind angle, as you can see, is going to push me to the left. Setting up in between the bunkers, medium distance of club, 20% elevation. This is something we could use drive distance notes for in a tournament scenario. Depending on the wind angle, of course, you could take a token or two, build up some yardage notes, use the slider, help you drop some more shots, but generally mid +20 was working nicely here. I'm not adjusting down off the platform, which isn't going to cause me to lose distance, so that's something to factor in as well. You might want to start a little bit further up in tailwind so that you're not pulling yourself off that platform and into the water with your aim. Mid plus 20 here with that offset. I'm going to give you 3 options here. Now, the aggressive option is really fun. If you've got strong enough tailwind, you can go with a driver. You need around 6.8 bars of backspin plus. I've only just got enough with Thor's Hammer 5, but I'm going with 6.8 backspin, 2 left spin. You will need a power 5 ball. Stretching out to find my position, and I want to hop over the rough and the sand and hold onto the green there with the backspin. Max plus 10, P5, pushing up 2 rings. This is something that you would need to do wind angle tweaks for, and a low amount of tailwind is not going to get you over there. So it is one of those you've got to mix and match your spin based on your wind strength. But it's full overpower, slow needle with a ball of curl to the left, and we're playing to a very narrow area with the backspin, just catching the green, and it holds very nicely. Now, of course, here's another version of the shot, and you might get a hole-in-one with this. If you've got any backspin boost balls gathering dust, use one, and it doesn't matter what driver you've got. As long as you've got a decent amount of backspin to start with, you can make up the rest with the backspin boost. So even with Thor's Hammer 5, you could play this shot. You could play it with other drivers as well. Obviously, if you've got less backspin on your club, you would need more bars of boost. But it's the same principle as that first shot. I'm stretching out, adding my spin, adjusting max plus 10. Now, because we're playing with more backspin, I push up a lot more here. So in the end, I push up 3.5 rings because that backspin is going to give me a shorter second bounce. So you can see there, 6.8 bars of backspin, 3 bars of boost. Full overpower, hit perfect. You've got a great left and a great right, though, playing with such an extreme amount of backspin. But there's going to be some really fun shots. Look at this one. Getting a zoom in, just burning the top edge of the cup. So if you've got a backspin boost ball, you could be in for the hole-in-one. If you don't want to go aggressive, then play safe. With the quarterback and a power 2 ball, going with the katana for the left spin. We're going half a bar of backspin, 3 left spin. Now, in more tailwind, you will need more backspin, of course, so always tweak your spin accordingly. Red ring touching the rough on the left at P2 max rest with quarterback 9 and 10. 1-to-1 adjustment here, so for 8.7 wind, we are going to play 8.7 rings. Now, that is equivalent, if you're using a different driver, basically that is the equivalent of playing max plus 5 P2 numbers. Okay, max plus 5 P2 or 1-to-1. Laying up there, and that is going to give you a very easy short wedge for your... Another tricky par 3, less so than the previous one, but still has its awkward moments. Playing no movement target here. With a Kingmaker, it will load you at P3 min line. In this wind angle, I'm playing with 5 backspin and half a bar of left spin. I would really keep with the no move target in any headwind and then just vary the spin. You could see the min line appearing there when I adjust. Min plus 50 in this one. In tailwind, you're going to have to either go Guardian with backspin or you play long iron and go either for a single or double bounce. But get the backspin amount right because this green slopes down towards the back of it. So very tricky par 3 to dial in. In high tailwind here, we are, of course, wanting to blast over the water. But if not, you're going to have to lay up. So I'm finding position with the quarterback, then switching to my extra mile. And then I'm adding 4 top spin and 3 left spin. The quarterback ring reference I was using was at P3 max rest with the white ring touching the rough, but you know, I'm just using that to gauge my club distance really. You could set up with the extra mile or whatever driver you have directly if you wish. Max plus 0. The idea of this one is not to go too giddy with the top spin because the fairway next to the lake, just before the lake, that rolls downhill. So you don't want to go too far here and roll into the rough. But you will need a long distance wood club. So I would pack the Big Dog or the Cataclysm. As you can see there, it's just rolling downhill. You will need a bit more top spin if you have more headwind, of course. You want to be around 350 yards. Now, second shot, this one is affected by the wind quite a bit, especially this wind angle. I'm going with 3.5 backspin, 1.5 right spin. You will need to tweak that depending on the wind angle. You can see here, though, that the right-hand side of the green slopes down. So if you miss right and don't control the ball well enough or adjust enough, then you will roll off the green into the rough, maybe even the bunker if you've got too much pace. Max plus 0, unfortunately I hit a great left here, but actually great left is favoured over a great right, definitely. Perfect would have been fine. Primary objective just to hold the green nicely and secure the eagle with a very simple putt. Very tough to get an albatross unless you go for the blast. Thanks very much for watching this video here on the channel. If it has helped you in any way, please consider sharing it amongst your friends and clanmates in the game. Join us also on Facebook. Head over there, search for BK Golf Clash and join our free group. Loads of members there sharing shots. Free guides are posted, as well as loads of other great Golf Clash resources. So check us out there. You can join in the discussion and also leave feedback on the game in general. Finally, if you wish to help support the channel and keep the content free for everybody, please consider becoming a Patreon member. The link is in the video description down below. Good luck, see you soon, bye for now.